Hello, welcome to an all-new Marvelcast, Explosion Network's hub of all things Marvel, a place to talk about everything MCU and beyond, from Avengers and Defenders to Bushman and Shadow Knight. My name is Ashley Hobley, the Explosion Network's podcast host with multiple personalities. Joining me today is Ultimate Karim Marchant.
Multiple personalities, hey? Hey everyone, what's going on? This wonderful series just came to an end that we haven't had anything negative to say, and I'm sure nothing negative about this episode either.
5 stars, best MCU series yet. Also joining us, the astonishing Dylan Blight.
Bushman is not a character. There's no way.
Yeah, he's definitely a character. Comic Book Resources has rated him number 1 ranked Moon Knight villain.
Wow.
Ooh.
What's he do?
Spoilers for the comics, but, he kills Mark Spector at some point.
Holy
Dang.
So,
fucking
that puts you at the
shit.
top of the list.
Okay.
We all know, look, everybody here at the podcast is big fans of the rogue gallery of villains for Moon Knight,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's pretty impressive. Yes, so today we're talking about the season, who knows at this point, finale of Moon Knight, Gods and Monsters, directed by Mohamed Diab, screenplay by Jeremy Slater and Peter Cameron and Sabir Pirzada, story by Danielle, Iman and Jeremy Slater. I did not look up what the description was for this episode, but it was probably something boring.
It's only been out for a day. It's not like you have to race for
It's
Disney
like
Plus like normal.
What's the point at that point? And seeing as we ring up, go check it out. Doctor Strange spoiler cast, especially only if you've actually watched the film. But yeah, we talked about it for like an hour. It's pretty good. The spoiler cast. You'll have to listen to it to find out what we actually think of the movie.
Yeah, I
I was going to say, every time we say, listen to our spoiler cast, we shouldn't have to follow that up with, make sure you only listen to it if you've watched it.
Well,
Spoiler cast.
Some people,
Spoiler cast.
We're not one of them podcasts with the 10
listen.
minutes at the start of nothing, of spoiler-free stuff,
The title of the movie is very long, so it might be cut off before they see the word spoiler cast.
That's fair. It's probably need to
Okay.
spoiler cast first then, right?
No. So yes, we're finally here at the end of the road. Ciaran, what do you think of this last episode of Moon Knight?
Well, we finished last week's episode of this podcast being like, man, a lot of questions they've got to answer by the end of this episode, or a lot of things they've set up that they're still not paid off on. And you know what their answer was to half of them? Fuck it, we're not going to answer them. I don't give a fuck. This whole third personality bullshit we've been building up to, kind of petered out and really shit the bed. Just a lot of it. I actually shit the bed is for me this episode and this ending to this series. I don't think I didn't enjoy this. I didn't enjoy this episode very much. I thought the God stuff in this episode was actually maybe some of the best stuff. Even the CG around them, I thought was very good. Compared to other CG that we've had problems with in this series so far. It's just, I don't know. This once again, I'm like, this series just felt like it was missing a couple episodes. Also this stigmatism around it of Moon Knight trying not to be part of the MCU, or trying to feel like it isn't part of the MCU and it's a standalone thing almost in a way. I feel like it tried too hard doing that, and by doing that, I think I didn't feel like this was an MCU or Marvel product, and in some ways it's a good thing, but I think in other ways it's just it doesn't pull things together. For me, the Moon Knight is in the same boat as I would put Eternals in terms of this doesn't feel like this is part of the MCU or has been involved in the MCU very much at all.
Okay. Dylan, what do you think? As the one who's loved this series the most so far.
It was bad. I'm glad the series is over. I think I can definitively say that I didn't enjoy Moon Knight as a whole. Now that it's I've watched all the episodes, I'll say this is the dud. This is the worst Disney Plus Marvel series. It's easily at the bottom of the list for me. The finale falls into all the typical Marvel series tropes, which is better have a big CGI fuckfest finale. My absolutely favorite thing in anything, let alone a series in which I really feel like the best elements of the show is really nowhere near the CGI fuckfest sort of stuff. Yeah, it's we have this episode where they rush through exploring old past and these really personal issues, and then it's like, like we're working together now. Like just how quickly it's like they end the last episode like, oh no, I lost him, he's dead, and this one is like, and now I accept you, you're back alive, and now somehow there's a door here somehow, and the fucking cow lady's like flying through a desert.
She's a hippo.
I guess you have a funny line, hippo, where you have the funny line where at least one of them goes, hippo! I was like, all right, I guess that's something funny. Nothing happening makes any sense, but I guess that's a meme. And then it's just like the fight with them, I guess, was sort of cool, where they're like switching and like cooperating together and like switching between the Moon Knight costumes and stuff.
Yes.
But having the Power Ranger fucking battle in the background, because that's what I'm calling it now, since I'm just humming the Power Rangers theme song, and I don't know why. And I'm just Ash said before recording, it's probably brought on by the giant people in the background, and maybe, who knows. But that battle felt totally unnecessary. There's no reason for them to like them fighting. I don't know, like other than just like that would look cool. Let's have a big and fight. Like I don't know, the characters we care about are on the ground. I think the best thing about this episode is Layla. Layla getting the costume, although I think the costume's slightly like I don't feel like there's a hippo enough element to it. That's my only like sort of like
Dylan,
this isn't me joking here. Like I feel like this is a what? Right, go on.
You know, Sam Wilson became Captain America, so they need a new Falcon.
Yeah, it's literally just Falcon shit. Oh, that's like Hawkman sort of shit. I'm like, and I'm not saying she needs like to grow hippo horns or something, but
What?
it's just
Hippo horns?
Oh, I don't know, like a nose, whatever.
Did you mean their tusks or their teeth?
Tusk, sorry, Tusk.
Man,
Horns?
I'm just saying, like there wasn't enough
Little
hippo
stub.
elements.
the little stub ears. That's
Yeah,
what it
like
was.
I was a little bit disappointed, but nonetheless, I feel like that the best. Look, I'm skipping ahead. Marvelous moment of the episode. I feel like the only moment I really cared in this episode about anything, and I thought was like worthwhile. And I know some people may say it like shoehorned in, which it is shoehorned in to elicit a reaction, but I definitely feel like it's worthwhile. But like you have that one moment where Layla's fighting and have that little girl go like, "Are you an Egyptian superhero?" or whatever she says, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like Layla's like kicking ass and all that
And
sort
she
of like
stuck
that's
a
cool.
finger up to Gal Gadot, and then we moved on.
Yeah. Because she saves the little girl here, but not in a supporting the rich paid. Anyway, that was sort of it, I guess. And then the ending, I was sort of okay with the way the series ended. I was like, they're happy, they're living together. You got this sort of weird moment where they wake up after everything, they accept, they go back to life, and then you have the whole joke that he's still tied up his foot, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, that's sort of, all right, whatever. If there's only one season, it ends there. It's still sort of weird that we never explore that. The fact they cheap out the third personality thing, and like, again, you just like miss all of the cool fight scenes because that mechanic or that like element means you just miss the fight because they have to not show it to you, is like really annoying, especially in the final episode of the series, like just as a thing to be like, why the fuck? Like at first I got it when you're like slowly introducing this person and like having like there's a different side to him and different personality to him. Yep. But at this stage, it's just fucking annoying where I'm like, I understand what the go is now. Like, just show me the goddamn fight.
When it happened...
let me finish. Then we just do a thing, and then we get to the end, and then they do that fake out, all to do an end credit scene where you see the person anyway, and I was like, oh, that just cheaps out everything that just happened, and if you're going to show him, why couldn't you have revealed him during the fight and have that be the reveal instead of this fucking cab reveal? Fuck you. Bad episode.
I
was really annoyed.
They hadn't prepared. They hadn't designed his Moon Knight costume. They just didn't want to design a third one.
Yeah.
So they're like, no, that I actually said fuck off out loud to the TV when it did like when it did the
VHS skip thing.
Yeah, when it did the VHS skip thing, because I was like, I think if anybody anybody could have guessed what was going to happen. That there was going to be the big fight, and there was going to be a moment where everybody's in danger, and Marc and Steven are losing the fight, and it's got to be a last resort thing, and then we're going to get the third personality, and cool. And I get it, they're trying to circumvent that by having the Flash and everything being beaten to a pulp, but I'm like, fuck off. Like, that's so, I don't know, it just feels like
pretty anticlimactic.
Yeah, I just...
It's like,
really
how they saved the day?
In the season finale.
This personality that you never saw before beat everybody up. That's how they won.
And you didn't see them do it.
Yeah.
If they had let you see him do it, and then end of this series is like they have to, and then you see him flick back to Marc or whatever, and then he goes, "What just happened?" But we've seen it as an audience. That I think it would have been interesting because then you end the season going, they don't know this person, but we as an audience are like, oh no, there's a danger inside you, like, and that like leaves it. But that's what they do by the end of the season anyway. They just introduce him
in the end credit scene where he's going to kill Harry. Like he looks at him, says something, and then he flashes back to like that fight scene. Just play that out. Let us have a look. Let's give us a taste.
Yeah.
No, they couldn't do that. And then also at the same time, flashing to the mental hospital to kind of as a double fake out to be like, haha, this was reality all along. And then you're sitting there and you're like, I was like, oh, okay, what's going on here? And then they have the moment of, look at his shoes. He's got bloody shoes. I was like, oh, okay, something actually maybe interesting. Maybe this will explain the shit can ending to the other stuff. And then nothing. We're in control. This is all in our heads. Peace out. It's like, why?
I don't know. I don't think it just didn't make sense, to be perfectly honest. And this was a very disappointing, underwhelming, just meandering episode of television. Yeah. I mean, Oscar Isaac's still good. Layla, she had her moments. I also went like, that's not very hippo-like. I think that's a fair comment.
It is. I mean, it's just like it's a costume, and it's just like disappointing.
Moon Knight looks like Khonshu.
Yeah, like you can see the moon. Like you can see
He's got moon aspects to him. There is something about
you can see the elements. Yes. Her costume doesn't have any hippo elements. It sounds silly to say. I understand it sounds silly to say, but I'm also like, is this because this isn't a thing from the comic, and they don't have a source material to draw from, and thus their costume department goes, what do we do?
So Teruwet is the goddess of childbirth and fertility. So nothing about that screams anything. I'm just okay from a character design point for both of you, because I don't think I had this as an issue, but I didn't understand it. What hippo elements would you have her have on her costume? Would have been great if she was in like a round rubber suit.
Oh,
I'm not saying we're on a podcast. Like, we're not
fat gum type.
If you give me enough time, if you gave me enough time, I'm sure I can think of something. But if you're asking me to think on the spot, like how would I design a costume, as someone who doesn't design costumes, I have no idea.
Because even like I don't know how the fuck they would do that.
I think a lot more grey. That would be my first. It's just my starting point.
It's just because her design and everything. If you were like, what animal does it make you think of? I'm gonna be like a bird. You know, like it doesn't make me think of a hippo. Like it makes me think of a bird.
That's it.
It looks like Hawke Girl.
It does.
Like more so than hippo fertility love god thing. Just saying. Like I really enjoyed her. Yeah. I enjoyed her in the costume kicking ass. Like I'm not trying to
it looked good.
Like say
cool moves.
I also enjoyed her getting her moment of having a multiple personality conversation. I thought she did that very well, and I thought her acting was fantastic throughout that piece.
I very much enjoyed Teruwet speaking through the dead bodies. And
just how the funny thing with her is that it's not the same actress that does both compared to with Marc and whatever the other one is and all that. You know, it's the same actor.
No. So. Well, it's kind of the same because he talks to Khonshu at times.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, Khonshu. Yeah, that's fair. No, that's fair. That's right.
Yeah, I will say Ammit looked good. I think they did a good job.
I thought that's where all the CGI budget went to.
It's like, yeah, let's get that crocodile.
I was like, damn, okay, we're actually doing an Egyptian god looking like an Egyptian god. I like this.
Yeah, I'm ready for the Donkey Kong movie.
King K. Rool. That's actually so good.
Yeah. So I think you're right. The fight scene where he's like switching between them, that was cool.
I wish there was
just
more.
Flying in the night. That looked cool.
I wish there was like a one shot of just constant fluid changes between the costumes and a bunch of would have been like so fucking cool. I would have been really hyped for that.
What's the thing in Last Night in Soho? I can't remember the term of the
where they keep changing in the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they could have done it. It's just like that's all in camera, so
it's a very effects. Impressive
Yeah, so for people who don't know what we're talking about, just to explain quickly for Ciaran, 'cause I don't think Ciaran's seen it. In Last Night in Soho, one of the characters, like, she's like has these dreams where she's like in the body of another girl, and over scene where she's dancing with Matt Smith's character, and as there's like cameras swinging around them dancing, it changes between the two actresses, and you may think it's a special effect, but what it is, it's one shot, and they just have the two different actresses as the camera goes down. The actresses are literally bopping up and down. So it's all like in camera, but it looks really fucking good. So they could have done this in a like same idea to pull it off here. If you wanted to do switching between the costumes, you could pull it off. You can even pull it off in a wider camera and have multiple people in the suits, like in stuntmen, and they would have to bop and weave down behind like objects. Like if I was directing this, not saying like I'm act like I'm fucking.
Whoa, you can't be a costume designer, but he's ready to be a fucking director. Hold on to your hats.
That's how I'll do it. If you want like a cool one-er with Moon Knight switching between characters, that's how I'd have it. That's how I'll do it. So let's say my Moon Knight like punches someone, he dives over a table in one costume. That stuntman ducks down behind the table, and then up pops the other one out the other side. Like you'd have to rehearse it. It's choreographed, obviously.
It's called a Texas switch, which I felt like was something
Texas
important.
Switch. That's it. Yes.
And then the other really famous one is, you know, in Scott Pilgrim, where Knives comes to the door, Kieran Culkin enters the door, Scott's in the background, ducks to the left of frame, and then jumps out the window.
Yeah.
Like you see it from the other angle where it's a stunt guy jumping out the window. Yeah. I mean, fine. I feel like the mental hospital thing, like, they kind of ruined it with this. Like, it was fun when it was all inside Mark and Steven's head last week, but now they added Harrow into the thing, and then they made it a real place. It was just too many.
It's really weird that after everything we have to go to a real one. Like,
and that was the solution.
And at first you're like, is this real? Is this
also
some way fake? Yeah.
It looked like he was in more of a European style place, but like,
it's true. Jake Lockley was in the right hand side of the car, so
like it seemed to be in a more European style hospital. Just the pulling out like the name of the hospital was a more.
I mean, presumably he was,
but how? Like, who transported him from Egypt to there? How did he get there? Like, how did he get there? Is my main question, is like how
that's the least of my problems, to be honest.
Yeah, but even then I'm just like, I don't know. Also, fucking the god in that limo looked fucking dumb. I don't know what it was about his giant fucking head and against that window, but it looked fucking stupid. I was like, what is this? Why have you got a car with the license plate Spectre on it? Like,
yeah, that was
like, why is this a whole thing? Like, what even is going on? Why does his like Jake Long come off as a bad Italian stereotype of like a hitman from a bad like camp movie?
Well, he's
from
Spanish,
right?
Was
he Spanish? I don't know.
Yeah. I think it was Spanish.
Because Oscar Isaac is ethnically ambiguous. That's why.
Well, it's just like, the thing is, right, it's just like you've had Oscar Isaac smash two different style characters throughout this entire series, and then you kind of add a little bit of a chink to it by putting that at the end.
Later, Gators.
I was loving it. I was loving, even to the point of, there was one that was like a cutaway that was, I think it was just as they ran through the door, where you hear him go, "Oh, bollocks," and I was like, yes, more of this.
Oscar Isaac. I just imagine Oscar Isaac like sitting in his trailer preparing for Sis, just sitting there like doing the accent, being like, bollocks, later, Gators, bollocks. Oh, Marc! Like,
I wasn't a fan that Layla just kind of disappeared for the ending, like that she wasn't.
She literally just. Whoop.
Like what would that situation be like, Ciaran?
I don't like. Well, the thing is, there's no explanation what happened to her if she is continuing as the Avatar or any kind of.
Maybe she just went to get coffee.
Hippos love milk.
What? What do you mean?
Oh, so weird.
Are you okay?
No.
No, you're not okay. Yes, that's exactly the point.
No. All right. Are we going to get a second season of Moon Knight?
Let's hope not.
Oscar Isaac came out and said they've got no plans.
There will be another season of Moon Knight.
Nah.
I think enough people will rave about Isaac's performance in this. And look, I've seen this show like from other websites getting like 8s and 9s every episode, and people raving about how fantastic it is. Like, I honestly think, for our opinion, it's a minority of opinions compared to the outer view of Moon Knight. I think
it's really interesting because I feel like usually, like, I guess I'm the chaotic neutral of like Marvel opinions. Like, usually I'm not like more on the negative side, but like if I'm like it was okay, I have like more criticisms than like you usually do, and I'd say like maybe Ciaran's a step above me, and then Ash is usually the
Ash is the optimistic one.
Yeah,
right?
shining
like,
light of
yeah. See, he's the one that says dumb shit like maybe she was out to go get a coffee.
He always like comes, So it's like interesting that by the end of I think this is the first series or movie of at least a recent memory that I can think of where all three of us are just like, it was bad.
Anything else you feel like we need to discuss around Moon Knight?
How do you both feel about its quote unquote reluctance or kind of its desire as a project, especially like this was shared by Oscar Isaac, that this wasn't really a part of the MCU in terms of there was nothing referring to the MCU at all kind of in this series, or
it's fine.
No,
it's a big planet. Those
Okay.
characters that we know can't be everywhere.
I get sick of the cameos and the reliance on everything being tied into everything. So I'm totally fine with it, like being like, oh, we're not like it's part of the MCU. Like that's a silly, like of course it's part of the MCU, but like it just doesn't have anything to do with anything else, which is fine. But that doesn't suddenly mean it gets a like, oh, it's 9 out of 10 because it didn't have a fucking cameo by whatever like character in this or whatever. I know he said a spoiler for something, but that's fine. There's no reason. It's if it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. And ultimately, this was just boring. Ultimately,
It had its
I feel
moments.
like. Yeah, it had its moments, but like, it was more boring than it was exciting.
So, and I guess I don't think this is a question we could truly ask without we're trying to avoid spoilers for Doctor Strange. The three of us have now seen Doctor Strange, and we've seen Moon Knight. The next project for the MCU is Thor: Love and Thunder coming
I think
out.
Miss Marvel
later
comes
this
out
year.
first.
Yeah, TV show.
Oh,
Miss
the TV show Miss
starts.
Marvel comes out first. Okay, how are you both currently feeling about the MCU and about Marvel movies and TV shows? Because we kind of are at this is the kind of the cap for the first set of Marvel shows that we've had in this kind of new formation of the MCU.
I think it feels like they're in a rebuilding process because obviously they had Endgame, a lot of the cast left. You had obviously the three big ones in Evans, Downey Jr. and Johansson all bow out through that. It's kind of like in a rebuilding phase, I feel like. So, it's almost like we're in the beginning again. So, it's fine. It's been up and down. Mostly up, I think, so far. And I think we've got some definite successes coming forward. I can't imagine Thor: Love and Thunder being bad. I can't imagine Wakanda Forever being bad. I can't imagine Guardians 3 being bad, so...
The movies have been mostly bad. TV shows have been mostly good. Is how I would if I had to rate, yeah. So like, what have we had?
Black Widow,
meh.
Eternals,
Shang-Chi good.
Eternals,
bad.
Spider-Man.
I'm on the it was okay. So
And then Doctor
somewhere in
Strange.
between.
Doctor Strange.
And Doctor Strange, I'm like, meh. So, for movies, for me, I'm definitely more on that downside. TV shows, though, for the most part, I've really liked the majority of them, or at least thought they were good. This is the only one I'd straight up say was bad. What If was very hit and miss. That's probably the one up from this,
It's the
I guess.
format of the show, though.
Yeah, that's a 4-man show, but that was probably the one up from this.
The thing is, I also think, what if? No, I won't even say that comment. Go on. Sorry. Cut that.
I mean, people rank it like it's still considered part of the MCU.
No, I just feel like, for me, my opinion of What If has dropped a little bit now.
I still wouldn't put it above this.
But that's because of the.
You would put it above this.
No, I would put it above this. But yeah, I mean, the majority of the TV shows I think have been very good, very experimental, giving me different types of things. I think even with the movies and my criticisms of stuff like Doctor Strange, the Eternals, whatever else, my criticisms aside, I do like that they're being a bit more experimental with the MCU formula and they're trying to shake things up a bit and not just stick to the same sort of exact look and style and feel of these movies. I just don't feel like they've quite found an even mix between giving some of these directors a bit more free reign while also like sort of having these scripts that are written in, I guess it's like they're still written in typical MCU style and then they're being directed not in that style and they're just not like melding together quite the way maybe they should be. So, I mean, my look at the MCU at the moment is it's like I'm still enjoying it. I'm not like super hyped. I feel like we potentially need to move to a big bad faster than we did Thanos. And that's not to say we need to rush to seeing an Endgame equivalent ending to that, but it's like introduce Doctor Strange, have him hang around for like 6-7 years, you know, like whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Doctor Doom, sorry.
Doctor Doom.
Doctor Doom. Yes, I realized what I said after I said it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the interesting thing. What in this phase, it's like this might be the longest phase maybe we've had so far, or like most content-wise.
Well,
we assume it ends with Fantastic
It's because of
Four.
COVID, I guess.
That too.
Technically, like, yeah.
and I guess we don't feel like we have. Like, I feel like the audience is it's gonna be less obvious that there's phases now because, as you know, they've said several times that there's no Avengers movies anymore, so there's not going to be these official kind of bookends
Crossovers.
And crossovers to a.
They say that, but you'll get like, for example, if they did like Captain Marvel, Secret Wars, you know that's an Avengers movie, or like the Avengers equivalent. You're still going to be able to pick which are the event movies. Pretty obvious, like even if they're not Avengers movies.
Yeah. All right. Let us know what you thought of Moon Knight. Are you in the majority that think it's really good? Or are you in the right with us think it's not good? Let us know on Twitter by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump into Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at All New Marvelcast, leave us a review. Apple Podcasts, Podchaser. Tell people about the show or leave us 5 stars. Anyway, you can leave the show 5 stars. And if you liked this run of after shows we've done for Moon Knight and thought they were worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support or just head over to explosionnetwork.com for all our other podcasts and content. Holocron Entries is about to kick back up with Obi-Wan. That's going to be great. Exciting times ahead. Yeah, so probably the next time will be... I haven't checked. I think the next all-new Marvel cast will be for Ms. Marvel, which kicks off June 8th. So, make sure you watch that and join us next time for another all-new Marvel cast.